Welcome back to Recap Anime Channel. Today we will come to the attractive reincarnation anime, with excellent action scenes along with extremely hot and strong girls. In this world, young man Michio Kaga finds himself in a mysterious maze after getting lost on the internet. With a new life and extraordinary power, Michio begins his journey as an explorer, exploring unknown lands and fighting against dark forces. But not only that, Michio also has another goal, to build a harem with beautiful and talented companions, who will share the adventure with him, and create unforgettable memories. Each episode is a new chapter, a new experience, bringing you closer to the heart of this mysterious isekai world. A high school student, Michio Kaga, is experiencing a virtual reality game. After logging in, Michio is transported to a new world. Everything is new to him. Michio interacts with the environment. His current level is level 1. The game is designed like the real world. With all the necessary equipment he has to carry himself. Michio searches around and discovers the accompanying equipment. He receives a rare-looking sword, called Durandal. The power stats of the sword are quite high. In addition, Michio also receives a ring, helping him increase attack power when fighting. After equipping the necessary items, Michio decides to start exploring the new world. However, Michio's start is in a peaceful countryside, far from his imagination. Michio discovers there are villagers around here, and quickly hides. A conflict between villagers and strangers is taking place. Michio is assessed by the game system, and then realizes they are bandits. They intend to attack the village to rob money and resources. The leader of the bandit group has a superior level. He owns a rare headscarf item. The bandit group quickly gains an advantage over the weak villagers. Michio feels tense because the level of the leader is quite strong. But he thinks this is the starting screen for new players. So Michio bravely rushes in and attacks the enemy. Immediately, the strongest one is defeated by him. Next, a robber rushes to attack Michio. He is equipped with armor, so Michio cannot attack directly. He immediately uses the sword technique he learned before, and defeats the enemy. The robbers feel scared and run away. Michio quickly cleans up the remnants of the robber gang, with excellent skills and speed. After completing the mission, Michio was exhausted. He opened the information board and looked at his current level. At the same time, the village chief came and thanked him for his help. He invited Michio to the village to rest after the battle. Michio agreed and followed him. The village chief gave Michio the spoils received after defeating the robbers. He quickly assessed the level of these items. However, Michio discovered the headscarf had been swapped by someone. It was not a normal scarf. The village chief was very confused when seeing this happen. He apologized to Michio and promised to investigate the matter. Michio was provided a room by the village chief to rest. He was tired after defeating the enemy. Michio wanted to log out of the game to return to the real world. But he could not find a place to exit. Michio tried all ways, but the logout board still did not appear. He began to realize he had a big problem. Michio remembered the moment when he logged into the game. A warning board appeared that he did not care about. Once in the game, then cannot return. While Michio was bewildered, the village chief arrived, bringing necessary items for Michio. However, Michio was not in a good mood at this time. The robbers he had killed were real people, not game characters. Michio washed the blood off his hands, and thought about what he would have to face in the future. A world where laws are lax and theft is rampant. Michio held the sword in his hand and regained his spirit. He had to fight to survive in this harsh world. At the same time, the village chief had caught the person who had swapped the headscarf. He was a villager. The village chief asked Michio about the punishment for the thief. Michio said to deal with the thief, according to the village's laws. The village chief was quite sad and accepted Michio's request. He began to perform the ritual on the criminal. An information card appeared in his hand. It was called an intelligence card. The village chief would write the punishment on the thief's intelligence card, which was to turn him into a slave. Michio was very surprised about the village's laws. The thief would be sold and become a slave. After the thief was taken away, the village chief gave Michio the intelligence cards of the robbers he had killed. If any of them were wanted, the reward would be his. The village chief told Michio that there was a night base in the town of Vale. He could exchange rewards and sell items there. The next morning, Michio set off for the town of Vale. He was provided with food and money for the journey by the village. After a long journey, he arrived at the town. It was a bustling place. Many people gathered here to trade every 5 days. Michio was taken to the night base. A female knight greeted him. She said that he had killed a group of robbers, including 2 wanted men. Before rewarding Michio, she wanted to check his background through the intelligence card. A knight came next to Michio and checked the information. Michio was very worried, because he did not know whether his intelligence card existed or not. Fortunately, it appeared. Michio successfully verified and received the reward. After that, Michio left with the guide. He had a strange feeling when passing through the neighborhoods here. The guide warned Michio to be careful. The security here was not good. In addition, these neighborhoods also had places to relieve stress for men. Michio heard and was excited, imagining the image of seductive girls. The guide woke him up when they arrived at the place to sell slaves. It was a luxurious mansion. Alan, the owner of this place, he was a businessman trading slaves. These 2 days, the number of customers buying slaves had surged. The reason was that a maze had appeared near this town, leading to a high demand for slaves. After knowing that Michio had single-handedly killed the robbers, Alan was very surprised and respected Michio. Then, they started to negotiate the price of the slave. Alan offered 30,000 NAR for the young slave that Michio sold. After the transaction was successful, Michio divided half of the money to the village as agreed. The guide said goodbye to Michio and returned to the village. Now Michio was alone. He did not know much about this world. Michio felt lonely in the crowd. However, there was still one person he knew. It was the owner of this mansion. He invited Michio into the mansion and had something to say. Michio didn't know what this man wanted from him. After knowing that Michio was an adventurer, Alan asked about his intention of buying a slave in the future. Michio hadn't thought about needing a slave yet. Alan said that he had female slaves at his place. Michio was excited when he heard this, and imagined a scenario where he and the female slaves would adventure together. Michio quickly calmed himself down, absolutely not to be tempted. Just then, a maid appeared and invited Michio to have tea. Michio couldn't take his eyes off the beautiful girl. Her cuteness and beauty made Michio unable to move. Alan was almost certain that Michio had fallen. The image of the maid had deeply imprinted in Michio's mind. She was the most beautiful person he had met since coming to this world. Alan had grasped Michio's weakness. That maid Roxanne was the slave that Alan wanted to sell to Michio. Indeed, the thinking of a great businessman, he could read the customer's thoughts. Michio asked him in detail about managing slaves. Alan told him that slaves could not betray their masters. If there was no consent from the master about exchanging or freeing the slave would also have to die. If the slaves ran away, they would also become bandits and be deprived of human rights. Alan told Michio about the maid earlier. She was a beast warrior, very useful in helping the master explore the maze. In addition, she could not get pregnant with humans. And above all, she had never had intimate contact with any man. Michio heard this, and even if he had to die, he had to buy her. If Michio didn't buy Roxanne, someone else would take her. Michio couldn't let Roxanne fall into the hands of others. He immediately asked Alan about the price of Roxanne. Alan quoted a price of 600,000 NAR. However, he had discounted it to 400,000 NAR for Michio. Michio didn't have enough money to be able to buy her, so he gave up the intention. Alan saw Michio off from the mansion. Once again, Michio had caught sight of Roxanne. Her cuteness was indeed heart-stirring. Alan gave Michio a deadline of 5 days to earn the amount of money he proposed. Then, he came and told Roxanne that Michio wanted to buy her. Roxanne was very happy and grateful to her new master. Michio couldn't refuse anymore. Alan saw him off and would wait for him to come back to pick up Roxanne. Michio now had a goal to strive for. He was determined to get Roxanne at all costs. Let's look forward to the next episode to see what Michio will do to be able to rescue Roxanne. Thank you everyone for watching the video.